Okay, let's take a look at Blood Borg. This is compatible with Merc Borg. I haven't looked at anything Borg related in a while, so this will be interesting. So yeah, I'll have a link in the description if you want to pick this up. And this is the way it looks physically. There is no drive-through RPG PDF only type option, so I will find the appropriate place to get this book if you're interested in it. I do like the red edges of the pages. That's cool. I'm glad it has a red ribbon bookmark. That's helpful. And let's take a look and see what it says. It says, blood is everywhere. Vampires are secret. You aren't alone. You aren't special. You aren't safe. Blood Borg is a gutter punk vampiric tabletop RPG for 2+ players, including a game master. Run through the sewers, copy your magic zines, and drain all the human sheep around you in the decrepit city of Scab. So I think just with that right there, you kind of already get a hint of like what it is, and it's where you are just like really on the bad end of being a vampire. And everybody hates you, you live in this decrepit place, and there's a bunch of forces that are trying to hold you down. It keeps with that Merc Borg type of mentality through and through. I'm going to tell you some stuff that I think is good in it right away, okay? So let's go ahead. I'm just going to start flipping through it. You know it's going to have the same stuff. It's going to have cussing and telling you that you're trash and nobody likes you, but you love blood and blood is awesome. You lust for it. You have to keep the lie going. And you're going to see, obviously, as I flip some of the art here. And I will say this. I see what they're doing with this art, okay? You can see it's kind of drab overall, just like the colors and stuff like that. But I found myself just not even looking at the art after a while. And some of it's pictures, some of it is actually art. I just stopped looking at it. I find it to be kind of one note, and it's doing what it's doing very well, and I'll say that throughout the whole book. It's doing what it's doing very well. It's just it didn't really amaze me. Like after a while, I stopped looking at it, and it didn't really matter. But I do say that I enjoy the fact that the fonts aren't terrible like some other Merc Borg type products, and they didn't go insane with the layout. It's doing the normal Merc Borg stuff, as you can see, quite well. So it was just that the art wasn't really. Once I saw it, I was kind of done with it. But it's fine. Like I said, it's doing what it's doing. And so let's take a look here. And what's some cool stuff that it's doing? So it does have, it has a little bit of a story, a little bit of a campaign. You know how it is. Always going to kind of entice you with this place called Scab and explain some stuff to you, not extremely thoroughly. And it's, of course, a game like Merc Borg where I feel is just it's not very much for like long campaign play. This is a couple nights, maybe you play, you have some good laughs, and you move on to another game. Of course, somebody else could probably grab a lot more out of it and have a long time with it. But the powers that be is a cool section, of course, giving us a little bit of the story when you got like the city police chief, that's a vampire. This black market's controlled by these two ladies, these two queens. They're vampires. And then the Council of Three, that's got some neat information there about them. And this last person's interesting. You never see that person, that Rose Kruger. So I'm glad to have a little bit of campaign stuff if you want to work on that. I do like the fact that they use skyscrapers to kind of block out the sun. That's pretty clever. But it's going to have stuff like this. Life in Scab sucks. It's just going to like throw that into your face constantly all the time about how bad you've got it as your crappy punk vampire. You've got different type of vampires here. A bottom feeder. You've got a leech, new blood, bloodbath, junk lord, black heart, dirt, and thrall. Thrall's interesting because it's obviously not a full vampire, not a pure human. Kind of challenging to play, they tell you there. But they're all going to have like two abilities. Like this bottom feeder here is going to have a cool ability. You can like change your face if you spin blood, and that's what you'll do in the game. You'll feed on someone, do damage to them. You'll get blood. It'll heal you up a little bit, and then you'll use that blood to do your abilities or to use them on the magic zines, which I'll talk about that obviously. So they only have like two abilities. They'll start with this bonus here, and then you'll roll up a couple random things. It may be something that you either don't even really come into play, or maybe you can work off of and use to some degree for your character. The leech is cool. They've got this mist that heals it kind of seeps out of your pores, and it can heal other vampires around you. I think that's pretty neat. So the new blood is obviously a new vampire. You've got Bloodbath, who just absolutely loves the taste for blood and carnage and stuff like that. The Junk Lord likes to mess around in junk, which is a certain thing in this game because you are alley living gutter punks. The Black Heart is just like done being a vampire, like absolutely just exhausted everything. Um, and it's interesting, and gets like a cool familiar. The Dirt likes to live underneath the ground. It's one of the cooler vampires, I think. And they've had to adapt, so since they live underneath the ground, they feast on stuff other than blood. You'll roll that up. And they can they've got magnetism in which they speak to surface dwellers. They might be able to tell them something and they'll believe it. And then you've got that Thrall, which of course they do have this note that they're a little bit challenging to play. You're going to have plenty of tables to roll up stuff, hooks, adventure ideas. So it does a really good job on that. As you can see, like, what were you before? Here's a thing of names. And then here's one of the best parts right here is you are being hunted. And this is going to be their take on the death of the world in Borg. This is going to be that everybody's got a hunter that is hunting them. And you'll use the dice chain, D20 down to a D4. If you roll a 1, it's going to move to the next die. And it's neat. So they're going to hunt you and kill you. And they're going to have a couple things here you can roll up: who, why, and how. Maybe it's your current lover. They can't forgive your betrayal. How? Maybe up close and personal, or quick and painless. And then you'll roll up like an encounter should that happen. And it might be something where they meet you up. They say, hey, let's go meet for coffee. I'm going to explain to you why I must end your afterlife. And it's neat. It's just a neat section. I like that. It's going to be personal to each vampire. And it's something to really kind of work with. So that's got that going for it. You're going to have your normal Merkborg type rules here with tests, DR numbers, advantage and disadvantage. I like these sections here. Every roll matters, and get down with the sickness. That means that sometimes a player have an idea that's so sick it simply must happen. When they roll a success, it's just as sick as they described. If it's a failure, the cool thing should happen with some brutal consequences. So I like that, kind of make it exciting. Even if you come up with a really cool idea and then it doesn't work out just because of the dice, maybe it still does, but you're hampered somehow. Rules for blood, pretty much. How to drain. What happens if you go below negative blood. Cold blood and non-human blood. Promises are cool. Your pack of vampire as a family. When you help each other out, you're going to get a +1 to your roll. And it's going to manifest its way as well in promises, which you'll have up to 3 of those. And they're going to let you re-roll dice. And you're going to use that as a pack. So something that for all of y'all to kind of keep track of. I do like the total party knockout rules here. When everybody is brought down to 0 hit points, you're going to roll on this, and you may not be dead. You may not have true death that's explained here. The things that might actually kill you, like direct sunlight, sylvan weaponry, fire, enchanted wooden stake. But it may be something else that happens to you, so you're not done. Maybe you wake up to a punk band setting up their gear in some dingy basement where the show's about to start. So I like that. I like that section there. Telling you about when you slumber, what's going to happen to you. When you level up, you're not going to have that like negative to your stats. You're going to just, it's not really leveling up either. Maybe you just do something, you accomplish something. You're going to roll a d6, and on a 1, you don't get anything, but 2 through 5, you get some cool stuff. More blood, money, maybe a spell zine, or a +1 ability point, or maybe all of them. So it's going to be fun to roll that up, and hopefully don't roll a 1 on that. You're going to have a bunch of enemies that are fairly normal humans. The First Light Agency is a anti-vampire operation that's trying to put y'all all down. They've got poison veins, where I think this is quite clever. They've ingested a subtle toxin that poisons their blood in case of a vampire feeding. Draining a street agent results in incurable infection that will kill the feasting vampire after their next slumber. Seems like everybody should have that. If everybody had that subtle toxin, then vampires would be no more. But I do think it's a very clever thing. Maybe they just can't make it in large batches to give the populace. So we've got that. We've got some other supernatural stuff here. A specter, a psychomage, a street witch. You've got this dire leech, bone worm, sewer gator, engorged rat. The carrion heap is cool. Every time it misses an attack, it shifts form so that it hopefully will kind of try to outmatch its enemies. I think that's really clever right there. Gutter bird explodes with a bunch of bone shrapnel. You've got some religious type characters to go up against as well as the possessed. An imp, hell beast, and infernal prince. Obviously a royalty of the underworld, and it's going to be very stout. And then you've got the spell zines, and this is where where you only get those 2 powers. The spell zines are going to give you more stuff that you're going to be able to do, and they're going to be kind of like black market little things scribbled down that you maybe can pass to one another, or maybe you can trade them for a pack of smokes or something like that. And if you roll a 1 on a d6 when you cast a spell, it's going to disintegrate, and it's going to show you how much blood it's going to take in order to cast that spell zine. And they're pretty clever. I mean, they've got some neat things. There's a good bit of them, as you can see, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but obviously their names are going to help you, explain exactly what they kind of pretty much do. So yeah, there's a good bit of those, and then you've got curses. They can be cast by arcane adepts, nestled in a booby-trapped spell zine, or delivered by the fates themselves. Some things will curse you, of course, and there's a good bit of them as well. And they're obviously going to have some of them are not too bad. They're just kind of nuisances, and then other ones are going to be pretty nasty to you. But I do like third-person perspective. You float outside your body. That's interesting. So these are going to be cool, and these are how you're going to kind of change up your powers and stuff like that. Cool rules on how to get around. I do like how there's like these random tables that are going to create stuff, maybe create encounters. Church choir boards singing hymns that hurt your ears when you're traveling on public transit. Maybe the conductor blacks out and someone should grab the wheel. So it's going to kind of create some moments. Same thing with walking and traveling. It says when traveling, the transit roll can be ignored if the vamps are willing to bear the scars instead of making a transit roll. Roll d20 for a prompt and pick a fellow passenger to chat with about it. Cross out prompts as you use them, addressing the next highest unused result when necessary. And it could be something like, you drive past a spot you used to hang when you were human. What has it become now, and how does that disappoint you? So trying to create some character stuff going on in this, and I applaud it for that. Dumpster diving for some, I guess because you're gutter punks, dumpster diving and looking for stuff is kind of a big part of this game. You have some, just like a very, instant trash generator right here. Maybe it's rotting steel shoes. I don't know what that would be like, but then you've got more thorough stuff here, and you can keep diving deeper and finding stuff. And then these are a little bit more specific to where it is, like what the location. And then you've got some radio stations here to try to maybe pass along some hidden information in the DJs and what they're doing. And so this is just an interesting section. I'm not sure how much people are actually going to use this, but different people are on this WSCB or WSCAB on the radio. So they're going to have a different type of personality, and you can kind of work with that in your game. It's set in the 80s. Now this stuff here is really good for the factions. So there's going to be a bunch of bands, gangs, councils, boards, cliques, and other power-thirsty groups, both arcane and mundane. It says the best way to get ahead in the city is to pull what little power you have with the bloodsuckers around you and hope they don't stab you in the back on your way up. So this is a way to keep standing amongst different factions, how to gain standing, how you might lose standing. It's a cool little side rules thing here that you can do. And so to keep relationships going well, if you help somebody out in a jam, maybe they're going to help you out. It may interfere with some other gang. And so it's a good section. This is a section that stands out strongly in this book. And it's going to give you some different factions. This is pretty neat right here. And it shows you where they are. They have, of course, the different locations of the town, or the city, I should say. But it says here, like, their strengths and weaknesses, like they are ignorant to vampires, abide by the law. They have, their strength is their access to political power. So there is a lot of stuff in here that really does a lot of the heavy lifting for trying to create a cool campaign world. I don't know if it's the length of it is going to be extremely sought after, but definitely give you a lot of options when it comes to faction versus faction stuff. It says instant faction generator if you want to do it here. Maybe it's a religious sect. Maybe they're at a 24-hour coffee shop. Their desires to be feared. So some just random roles to create those. Your squat, and that's where you're gonna live with your pack, and you're gonna roll up what and where. You can keep stuff there and sell stuff from it. Downtime is okay. This is pretty neat. A little bit of stuff you can do in between sessions. Maybe you're going to study magic, scout out a new location, gain an asset, or improve your squat. You'll have to make a certain amount of checks and DR 12, and on a failure, the DR goes up by +1. So you're trying to get these over time to try to improve whatever it is that you're trying to improve. But sometimes you have immediate gratification if you can answer yes on these questions here. Like, do you want to do some vice, some drugs, get drunk or have sex? Do you have some extra money to burn? Do you have a reliable dealer? If you say yes, then you're going to roll on this and see what happens. So that's not bad. And then we're going to have our section on the setting here, the different locales. They do have events like a D4. I kind of wish it was a little bit more than a D4 because I think you're going to run through those pretty fast. But it is good, and they're going to cover all these different areas. And and they're going to have obviously a rich area, a poor area. This area is crappy. These areas are full of shitheads, and so on and so forth. And then we're going to finish it up here towards the end with some cool hooks, some drugs, even some drugs of note. And this could play a power struggle within the factions. You've got some cool NPCs generator here you can do. Maybe it's a vampire, male, boring normie. He hates the world, whatever. Some people of note here. What does the taste of blood taste like? Is it sour or sweet? So just a lot of good random tables. And then we've got this, the Normie Nightclub. It's for a pack of first level vampires in one session. I don't want to spoil it, but you're going to go to, your boy's been missing. He's been hanging out with this other guy, and he's missing. So you're going to try to go to the club that where there some bands are playing. It's called The Spot, and you're going to find out that some forces of darkness as well are using your friend for nefarious means. And it's just a couple pages here, but you would definitely be able to do it in one session. But it does kind of give you the feel, the grunginess, the dirtiness of this punk life that you now live. Unlife, I should say. So you do have there's the the Blood Borg character sheet, and then here is the squat sheet. It's probably going to eat up a lot of your printer ink. And then that's it. So this is the thing where, like, I think this would be fun for, like, maybe a couple of sessions. I don't think this is going to be for everybody. The whole gutter punk aspect of it is for a certain type of just, I don't know, fun, eccentric type of players that like to drink and get rowdy with their characters. This really embraces that in a vampire package, I should say. I think it's a cool product. I think it's good. It's not exactly one that I'm extremely, like, super in love with, but I think it's only because it's not 100% for me. I would definitely play it, no doubt about that. I would play it in a heartbeat. I would have a lot of fun with it, but I would probably move on after a little while. But I will say, as a physical product, while it doesn't, I think it gets kind of mundane after a while. It gets kind of monotonous with the way it looks. I applaud them for doing good fonts that I can read, keeping up its same motif, and having a vision of this kind of like punk underground world that it's creating. And it's just not going to be for everybody. But I do think it's got some neat innovations in there, especially like the factions, the total party kill, the hunter, how they were able to switch that from Borg to this. Those are all pretty smart. The zine spells are neat because they're not super hard to get. You can actually create your own. So I think that's fun. The rules for blood and being a vampire are very straightforward and easy. Certain things are going to kill you. Some stuff's not. But so you're still going to be pretty tough as a vampire, but if they pull out those other weapons and stuff on you, you're going to go down. I do like that there's an agency that's kind of hunting you down, try to kill you. That's pretty clever. You can do a lot of stuff with that. But yeah, like I said, this is not going to be a game for everybody, but it's definitely going to be for some groups, and they're going to have a lot of fun with it, and probably have a lot of crazy antics, a lot of drinking, bashing people's noses, and draining blood, and just having a crazy time with it. But yeah, there it is. There's Blood Borg. I hope you've liked this video. Look forward to making the next one for you soon. And let me know what you think about this game. Is this something that you would pick up? Is this something you would play? Is there something here you don't like? I love interacting with everybody that watches my videos. So yeah, let me know what you think about this. Comment down below. That definitely helps the algorithm. So that people can see the channel and it'll stay out there in people's face. But that's Blood Borg. I kind of wish it was on Drop2RPG in case you just wanted to pick that up. Just a PDF. But like I said, I'll have it so that you can go pick it up wherever it may be found. So there it is. Thanks a lot.